What's going on in Europe, would you say? Europe suddenly seems like a different place.
Well, my biggest concern for Europe is that the birth rate is half replacement rate.
Yes.
So Europe is rapidly becoming, with each passing year, older and older, with fewer and fewer young people. So I think at a most fundamental level, unless Europe has a birth rate at least roughly equal to replacement rate, it is in population freefall. Population collapse is what's going on in Europe. There's also like a shocking amount of censorship. You may have seen like in Britain, I kid you not, how can this be real?
Europe is on the verge of collapsing, and this is not an over-exaggeration, just or. Take a moment and think. Europe brought so much value to the world that we know today. It truly is sad to see that it's slowly being corrupted by immigrants and weak leaders. You can't expect Europe to last long when less young people are being born yearly to carry on the traditions, culture, and innovations of Europe. Couple this with the fact that there are also millions of immigrants flooding Europe yearly who don't even align with the culture there, and you have a certain formula for the death of Europe. I mean, just look at Britain. Stats suggest that by 2050, it will be a 50% Muslim nation. A nation that was built on Christianity, freedom of speech, and freedom of expression will no longer resemble what it was even 20 years ago. This is cultural genocide before our very own eyes, and it boils down to the fact that we no longer have traditional values at the core of Western society anymore. People are abandoning the traditional family structure that safeguarded the continuation of Europe. And we can see this with low birth rates in Europe right now, which only makes Europe weaker and weaker as the years go by.
They would actually, some of these posts that at least the ones I've seen, didn't actually criticize the government, or they were seen as sort of as hate speech.
Right.
So
because they noticed the society getting crappier and crappier with every year, and they said so.
Yeah. I mean, there were, and this is I'm simply stating a fact, there were migrant gangs in England that were gangs that would, and some people found that objectionable, which obviously it should be objectionable, and they were upset about that, and so they complained about it online and were sent to prison. That sounds crazy. I mean, part of it, I suppose, is sort of the decline of religion. So, you know, as the saying goes, nature abhors a vacuum. So when you have essentially a decline in religion, an increase in the secular nature of society, for most people, they need something to fill that void. And so they adopt a religion. It's not called a religion, but effectively like woke, the woke mind virus. It takes the place of religion.
Yes.
And they internalize it and they feel it with religious fervor.
Yes.
And
rigidity.
Yes. And they, you know, they essentially conduct like a holy war, effectively. It's just not called a religion, but it is a religion, sort of a woke holy war. And they're highly resistant to change, as is normal for religions. So now for myself, I sort of see myself as a sort of engineer, physicist. For me, I'm culturally Christian. I grew up Christian. I mean, I was Anglican, was baptized. I went to Sunday school.
Yeah.
Actually, oddly enough, I was sent to Hebrew preschool and Anglican Sunday school at the same time. So it was Hab Gila one day, Jesus Elo the next, which is, if you're 5 years old, it's fine. There's a lot we don't know. We don't know, why does reality exist? Where did it come from? Where are the aliens? What questions should we ask that we don't even know to ask? So,
when you say what are the aliens, what do you mean?
Where are the aliens? Like, why don't we see them? a lot of people think we see aliens, but I've not seen any evidence of aliens. We've got 6,000 satellites in orbit, and not once have we had to maneuver around an alien spacecraft.
Right.
The environmental movement in the extreme is fundamentally misanthropic and anti-human.
Yes.
They start seeing humans as a plague, a blight on the surface of the Earth. That if that Earth would be this paradise if only the humans weren't here. And some people actually say this explicitly. There's the Extinctionist Society that is literally this guy who's the head of the Extinctionist Society was on the front page of the New York Times, quoted as saying, "There are 8 billion people in the world. It would be better if there were none." So there's some people who actually say that explicitly, which isn't completely insane. He's advocating a Holocaust for all of humanity. To utter madness, he should be condemned for such a statement, but he wasn't for some reason. Now, most people on the sort of environmental movement have that implicitly. They don't realize that they have that as their optimization, but that is their actions take us towards extinction. A lot of people believe that the Earth can't sustain this level of human population, which is utterly untrue. It may seem in a crowded city that there are a lot of people, but actually, if you look down on an airplane and you say, look down, am I over a person at any given point in time on an airplane? The answer is 99.9% of the time, no. Like if you flew from LA to New York and say your job is to drop a ball on someone and hit them, you would fail.
You have to drop a lot of balls.
You have to drop a lot of balls. That would be insane. So, all of the humans on Earth can fit on one floor in the city of New York. Yeah, the cross-sectional area of all humans, 8 billion humans, is small. So we have this totally wrong idea that the Earth is overpopulated, where in fact it is underpopulated.
These warnings for Europe's future highlights major risks that, if ignored, could lead to serious consequences. The declining birth rate threatens economic stagnation and an aging society with fewer young people to support growth. This isn't just about numbers. Without enough young workers, Europe could face long-term decline, and it has already begun. To make matters worse, censorship is heavily plaguing free speech, which could create distrust and division within societies. As governments suppress open dialogue, political instability will grow. Elon Musk is right to challenge the belief that the Earth is overpopulated. The problem lies in how we manage resources, not population size. Ignoring this perspective could prevent us from finding innovative, sustainable solutions to global challenges. The consequences of overlooking these warnings are clear. Economic, social, and political decline. Europe and the world must act now to avoid these pitfalls.